Good morning. Welcome back. Today we're gonna do something different. I made a few promises that I would be spending some time on my Game Boy game, and this Sunday seems like a good time to do so. At the moment I am in the process of working on the demo map and just refining some mechanics, make sure it runs as smooth as it can. That's not easy because I have to take the original hardware into account, and I'm using Game Boy Studio, so by nature the process is not optimized, not in the same way as as it is possible using assembly, which means I have to keep that in mind constantly when adding enemies to the map. Kind of spread them out, make sure not too much is going on at the same time on screen. I have to be careful with my update scripts if probably for those who are not into or not using Game Boy Studio, that probably doesn't make too much sense, but I'll try to explain it as I go. I'm not really sure. Today is going to be I might jump into Doom 2 level design as well, but I kind of want to do a little bit of work on this because I left it to the side a little too long because I wanted to finish episode 2 of my Doom 2 project, so I let this rest for a few weeks or months maybe, but I kind of want to get back into it. Now, it might not be the most action-packed part you're gonna see today. Mainly because I have to figure out some stuff myself. And what I'm gonna do is, there's a lot of script here, as you can see. If you can, no, you cannot see actually. Okay, hold on. I have to move myself out of the way. Unless, can I actually move this window? No. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hide my camera so it's easier to follow. I think that would be the most interesting thing here. There we go. So we got this whole scripting setup here, and what I have when it comes to attacking, there are a lot of ifs here. And that takes up cycles. The system has to check whether or not these conditions are true. And what I want to know is, what if I can do a little bit of math for these? Oh God, it's been so long. The script is really, well, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's pretty large. And the thing I kind of don't look forward to is, you know, dissecting it again and fine-tuning it. It's not the most fun part. But I wonder if there are any people here, you know, who may have some experience in programming and, you know, are able to tell whether or not it's a huge difference in speed if I reduce these if checks and just make one calculation, like if the sum of these three variables is not 0, then, you know, stop the script, something like that. Now I wonder how much time, like, does it have a significant impact on performance? Because, like, you know, if mana count is 0, now that is actually inverted. Because here, if it's 0, it stops the script. Here, if it's not 0, it stops the script. So in order to make that sum, I would have to make sure that I invert this or immunity. That's also a possibility. Because immunity is 1. If this is 0, stop script. If this is 1, stop script. So in order to make a sum, I would have to make sure that everything, you know, is set to either 0 or 1. For this one, if it's not 0, anything but 0. Now I think what would be the easiest is that I just change the mana. But that would mean I would have to do it in another script as well. Because now if I use mana, you know, if it's 0, of course you don't have any ammunition. So instead of decreasing it, I would have to increase it and then say if mana amount is 6, then it's actually, you know. Or I can leave this and just add these two. If that, now what I want to know is, does this have any like significant effect? On performance. If not, then I just tend to leave it like that. What I was thinking, like, if you press the B button, there's a whole lot of checks before you actually fire a projectile. And that, you know, kind of leads to slowdowns. So I'm not really sure. I think last time what I was doing was actually try to sync up this water animation, which is also has been a bit of a pain. Well, the fun part is I can copy most of these just into a new scene. So if I do it here, I just need to copy this over to this one, or just like a specific part that I edit. Like, there is a very serious downside to the potion use I have, and that is that you cannot put it in a in a script that you can call from the outside. It doesn't work, unfortunately. So I have to each time, like, let me show you real quick. Jesus Christ. That is a bit too psychedelic for me. All right, let's put on some classics here. So the thing is, like, with this game, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't call it stuck, but kind of lacking the motivation to break through this, you know, very annoying task. But it's something I think you have to get right early on, because the rest of your game depends on it. Like, but the only question I have, and which I kind of need to solve first before making these huge changes, is whether or not, like I said before, it has a significant impact on performance. And let me check how you can, maybe I should look up first how you can actually, if there's like a mechanic or a command that you can display like the performance or something. So let's try. This is Game Boy Studio 3.1, I think. 3.1, yeah. Okay. Severe slowdown. Oh god, okay, let's put it on screen actually. I do have that. Well, the thing is, my Game Boy is not in color. Oh, that is not too helpful, unfortunately. these things are that's something I already do. Like I need to check, and that is actually the best. Let's run it. See if we can find any metrics. That would be the easiest way to figure out if this works well or not. So we got our game here. And performance is okay. And now I did. This is using a potion, which allows you to, walk through enemies. And I made sure, because this, like, you have the potion, you have a timer. And the thing is, like, that also takes up resources, right? So what I did to kind of solve that issue, I disabled attacking, like throwing projectiles, when you're under the influence of a potion. And I kind of, in the lore, I kind of explain it that, you, like, the mana you use is kind of like a powder, which you kind of have to inhale, and then, it comes in your bloodstream. And you can actually, that's how you throw fireballs, because like that magic essence that you have in your bloodstream. And if you take a potion, your bloodstream is kind of corrupted, which in turn, doesn't allow you to throw mana, because it requires like a different composition of your blood. Something like that is the story I attached to it, and to kind of solve that issue and like increase performance, because that's actually what it's really all about, But it's kind of like, if you attach that specific lore to it, it kind of helps to, have it make sense, instead of just disabling attacks if you use a potion. I mean, I think it's interesting to, if you develop a game and you have like a mechanic and you have to do certain things, you have to cut corners for performance wise, and that is something that is very important when developing a Game Boy game. If you kind of attach like a lore to it to explain why, I think it kind of helps to make more sense. And now you can see that is the thing. There is a significant slowdown, as you can see. And now we can actually, you are invulnerable. There we go. And for that small moment, you can actually take advantage of that. Now, the thing is, as you can see, that attack sequence, as soon as I attacked, and it kind of depends on whether you're in the air or not, because that also takes a hit on performance, because it has to check what your position is before you fire the projectile. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that firing in the air animation, with the skirt. As you can see, as soon as I jump, the skirt kind of changes to kind of, add to that jumping. And it's a different animation when you fire a projectile in the air than you do on the ground. So here we go, you got a normal, see, this is like a normal firing. And then if you jump, it's a different animation, of course. And depending on whether you're on the ground or in the air, of course you have to choose the right animation. And that is also something that like you have to, the CPU has to check that. And every time your CPU has to do a check, it's a hit on performance because there are a lot of stuff, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time. But you know, these kind of, and this is like an enemy that doesn't fire a projectile of its own, right? There is, hey Festus, I need a, oh yes, I do. I do very much. Like maybe you know, like, if you look at the script right here, let me get rid of this as well, as you can see better. Like, where do I start? How are you doing, by the way? Good to see you again. Hey Void, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Okay, cool. So what I got here, so, and I think, I don't know if it's like a significant increase in performance, but the thing I use now to actually drink the potion is to use joypad up and B button. What I could do is I could assign a different button, like just pressing down to drink the potion. And that would take away a cycle here, or I call it cycle, but probably I'm wrong, but it takes away like another check when attacking. When I'm dropping frames is when I'm jumping, I think. Because like the enemy has an on-update script. I think, hold on, let me see if I can actually, sometimes, hold on. I think here with the jumping, now this enemy is gone, so there's a little less checks. So what it does, one single drop. Like what I see here, and this is something I'm not really sure about. I have these three, like, so this is, the first one is if I hold joypad up and press B, then it checks if immunity is true, it stops the script. Strafe jumping. Well, actually, I did increase the speed. I'll have to check if it's saved actually. So if immunity is true, then it stops the script, because if you just got hit, it activates a timer. And that's an extra, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I kind of want to reduce scripts running, too many scripts running at the same time. So if you get hit, you have a few seconds of immunity. And in that immunity, while it's active, you can't do anything. You cannot drink potions. You cannot use your fireball attack. You can just do your regular movement. And if you hit an enemy in that immunity period, then the enemy dies. So it's kind of like, okay, you got hit. You lose a hit point, but in return, you get a brief moment where you can kind of redeem yourself and try to walk into an enemy to kill it. Kind of depending on where you spawn in the map, of course. So, okay, this is, then you do not drink a potion. If potion consumable, if you don't have any potions, then it stops the script. All right. And then for the next one, this is actually, suppose you have a potion and these conditions are okay. So you don't have immunity on and you have a potion in your inventory. Then it's kind of like I have this two variables because there is something else that requires it to check. So you get an active potion and it's the same as, because I have like 6 potions. Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a tool, but I kind of have to look into it. But these potions part, okay, I can put this in a different. I can like take it out of the attach the script to B button, so it has to do one less check, and that's. But I have these like 1, 2, 3 ifs. Actually 4, but you know this one doesn't count at the moment. But these 3. Now what I wonder, and maybe you know out of experience, if I use like a math check, suppose, okay, mana amount is 0. I have to change this to false, or you know. Suppose I can arrange it so that the sum of these 3, if it's 0, then you stop the script, else you continue. Is that faster, like in a significant way, than to just keep 3 if checks? Oh, can I? Yeah, so that is the thing, like, I constantly try to think about, like, can I make this faster, simpler? And I think, like, if I have this down, like, because these are the scripts I have here to basically, like, the player mechanics, if I can get this right, oh, I see. Well, that I have absolutely no idea about. So the best way would be to basically, just have like a tool indeed. Let's see, what if I run it? Is there like a console or something? Oh. I see. Different instructions, yeah. Okay. Can I? Palette is limited, yes. This is made for the original hardware. So it's just using the original Game Boy, like it uses 4 shades. Okay. What is that? Oh. Oh yeah, they're part of the editor, yeah, indeed. Yeah, these are like collision blocks. And this is a trigger. The yellow lines are a trigger. So they're not part of the game, indeed the editor. No, I thought there was like, is there like a console? Probably not. Export web, maybe I can do it like this. Export to web and then run a tool on that maybe. It might actually not be a bad idea, Festus. I thought, like, isn't there like something built in? Okay. Yeah, once I get through this part, then it's actually pretty easy. because I have like all the mechanics are in place and they're working. You know, it's just can I optimize them as best as I can. Run with debugging. Can you actually do that? Oh, this is just a regular one. Wait, built-in debugger. I'm not really sure if this is in Gameboy Studio 3.1. Oh, it's in the docs. Yeah. Let's see if I can find anything. Like there is a some type of HUD. That doesn't do anything. Debugger. Game run with debugging. I think that's in a new version. Yeah, I think that's something in the newer version. But the thing is, I actually use like a plugin for this, and that is Platformer Plus. Now, there are some functionalities that don't work in the newest version of Game Boy Studio, so it's incompatible. And there hasn't been an update on Platformer Plus. Now, if that were the case, then I would immediately, upgrade to a newer version. But these plugins aren't updated because they're not integrated, unfortunately, into Game Boy Studio. That's a bit of a shame. Now I just could test it. Player mechanics. I did this actually because there's so many things you have to take into account. Like whenever you enter a scene, it runs all of this each time you enter a new scene. And if you have potions, to make sure that they're not looping infinitely, you have to make sure it's it's complicated. To avoid errors, I had to make sure that each potion, as soon as you enter a new scene, that the potion is gone, and the effects as well. But that's okay. No, it's I think it's right here because what also okay, let's actually try. Can I find a different scene? Here maybe. Let's actually go here. Like we got this scene here. See, you can notice some slowdowns here. Maybe we can actually jump on this. The thing is, why this turns white is because it's also a sprite, of course. And this slippery floor is actually was also kind of like a pain. But it's, I think it's in I think the biggest slowdown occurs, from what I can tell, right here. I think this one. It has to be something here. So I can't actually do that. Disable event. Let's see if I can actually, what it does. Now you can probably, because it has to store the state. Oh, wait. Oh, that's weird. Ah, okay. See, like, okay, I have to do some checks. Hold on. Let's first actually temporary. We're gonna give mana amount. Let's give it like, yeah, plenty. So we can actually do some more tests before I run out. See, like the thing is, if it doesn't store if it doesn't store like the state before I press the B button, and it doesn't check anymore. That's kind of weird, because like the player should be on the ground. The player's on the ground now, and still use that animation as if I were in the air. So that's very strange. If I disable this as well, let's see if we can actually get an increased performance. Oh, now it doesn't do anything. Of course it doesn't do anything. Like this probably could be... This is something I cannot skip because it has to check the direction as well. Unless let's see, player. What I probably could do but I'm not really sure if that also kind of fixes it. If I it uses moving. Alright, so that doesn't really not really so the main issue is basically let's see if I now here are actually two on update scripts. This is also pretty you know, pretty heavy on the CPU, but I disabled collisions. So it doesn't have to take that into account here as well. So there are no collisions. That absolutely and these update scripts aren't too complicated, you know. This is monster hit points. Now what I can do is actually I have explosions. If you actually I have 4 different projectiles. Here's okay. Alright, awesome. So what I can probably do, see those were the explosions, and these are like when a monster dies, it kind of creates these like, you know, jibs, so to speak, and I have 4 of them. Now what I probably could do to make this a little more efficient is just have one sprite, one larger sprite, and just have those jibs like displayed all at once. And instead of using like an angle for the projectile here, because each of the individual projectile has a different angle, as you can see. So one goes to here, one there, and then the bottom ones also. What I could do is just one sprite, make the animation go down, and then in the animation of the explosion sprite, just make sure that like in each frame, you know, I'm kind of move the jibs to the left and to the right a little bit to kind of mimic that. But that is not the issue indeed, because like this is actually after. That is like, this doesn't, it's not even part of this cycle yet. So see, sometimes it has this terrible, it has a slowdown. But you know, the thing is, it's when you're above a monster. You think so? Right. Well, the thing is, it doesn't use. It only checks if you hit the monster. So this is, let's see. So this is the monster on hit. And that's only if you hit the monster. So not, it doesn't check here, it doesn't check above or below. Only if you hit it. So if the player is above the monster, then you bounce, you shake, you decrement monster health by 1. And if health is like 0, then the monster will die. If not, so if you're not above the monster and you get hit, or the monster hits you, then you will die. And I have to do this to make sure that the player, like, you die, but you have to make sure that the player stops, so you don't move, the player disappears from screen. So, you know, you deactivate the player. And then you wait. But this is not a problem, because if this happens, you are not able to move or fire. So it just can run without any slowdowns or any issues. So that is not really like I think the main problem is really if you fire a projectile. And this most of the slowdown occurs, you know, when you're in the air. See? Because if I just fire this, see the projectiles? And this is also okay. It's when I move, apparently. And that's actually when the most. That's extremely slow. So yeah, I don't know. Like here it goes smoothly. It's kind of like almost like no idea. What I could do, and that would make it a lot more simpler, is just disable attacking while in the air. But you know, the thing is, like in the Mario games, it runs a lot smoother. Even though there are like multiple enemies on screen. Yeah, indeed, and that is, you know, you can actually fully optimize the process. And this is like, I don't even have sound effects and music into account here as well. Now, I'm pretty sure it runs on a different, you know, I think it can run simultaneously without affecting each other. Yeah, indeed. So by nature, developing a Game Boy game in Game Boy Studio is by nature unoptimized. So let's see if actually like this is also well, I'm not really sure if I can go around this. It's a pretty elaborate script, to be honest. And I'm not really sure like how to further like optimize this, because it does have to do these checks. And then you have to put in the state. No, if I could cut this down like by half, I think, by removing the check whether or not the player is on ground or in the air. It's something to take into account. For the I'm planning to make a sequel. And you know, for the Game Boy Color. So there it probably wouldn't be a problem because you have double the CPU cycles to use. Double the CPU power. Oh yeah, if you would, that would be very, very helpful. Thank you so much. Now the thing is, can I actually... Hold on. Oh, and I have to undo some stuff. Did I accidentally saved? But I'm not really sure if I did anything. Probably not. Okay, so I now the source like you mean like you want this to be able to open in Game Boy Studio, just zip the project, okay. Okay. Alright, yeah, I might. That would be very. That's very kind of you, Festus. No, assembly. It's not. It doesn't. It doesn't even. I think. It. It doesn't. I don't think it kind of like it uses. Like if you look at the source files that are generated, if you compile it to source, or I mean, if you just export the source, it's in the GBVM, Game Boy Virtual Machine, and you can kind of. Well, it's actually there's very little documentation. Now I managed. Hold on, let me actually show you. There are some. Let me see. Where did I use it? How to update. So here, like this is like a small script. You can. This is like the basic. This is just for the HUD, but there is actually. Let's see. Well, this is like the GBVM format. Everything becomes assembly eventually, indeed, and true. That's a fact. But the thing is, like, can you actually look at it like that? Because I can export as, or no wait, advanced, export project data, source data. So what I do, there we go. So let me pull this up. Let's see, where was it again? Data. Okay, so this is basically, these are the data files. And let's see, can I get an example? So this is like, this is GBVM. The language, and it's not really assembly, but I think it's something like in between, It's still not as like it's. I think it's still as complicated because there is very little documentation available for this. It doesn't explain. Yeah, this is indeed what the scripts are trying to do. Now, I'm not really sure if this makes any sense to you. I kind of I learned like some of the things. Like I know what certain things do. Like this, for example. Like first you have to, set like a constant, and this is like the actor number. Right, so you have to do that first, and then you can actually, once that is defined, you set that actor to hidden. Okay, that's simple enough, right? But this is like a very simple example, but of course it gets more complicated. But you would probably understand better than me, or than I. I'm not really sure how you say that even. Like VM jump, okay, that's jumping to like this part right here. It's basically like the if statement, you know, but in its own way. It doesn't look okay. Okay, I'm glad you. For me, it's almost like Chinese language. You know, it doesn't make any sense, or at least it didn't make any sense when I just started out. And just scripting in this, almost like it seems like there's so many things that can go wrong, like memory-wise. You have these push and pop commands where you put something on the stack, but then you have to pop it as well to kind of save on memory. You know, it's okay. Okay. You have Gameboy Studio installed? Because it might be easier for you to... Okay. So thank you so much in advance, Festus. I will send you the complete package. You know, if you find something, that will teach me quite a lot. So I will send it to you. And like again, I'm super grateful that you want to help out with this. And well, let's take a short break from this because it's already filling up my mind with data that I can't process. So we're gonna jump into something easier for now. Like I said, for me, it's kind of like hard to stream because this is most like an actual. Okay, I'll take a peek now. Okay, hold on. Then I just in that case, let me quickly package it for you. I have to kind of figure out where it's actually located. I hope you can, you probably can just open it, hopefully. There's a lot of stuff in there, like plugins as well. I'm very curious, you know. And if you like... where did I put? Assets. Okay. Game. I think I got it. Assets. Yeah, I think I got it. This should be enough. I'm just gonna zip it. Let's see how large it actually is. .36 megabytes. Okay, that's quite alright. There's probably a few concept things in there, backgrounds and stuff. I'll send it to you through Discord, if that's fine. If you want another method, just let me know. Okay, cool. It works. Okay, awesome. Right, thank you so much in advance. If there's anything, please let me know. If there's anything you need extra or something. Because my god, if I can solve that, like increase performance. But I think I got a feeling like it dips pretty fast. And you can see that slowdown in Mario games as well. Especially like I think they kind of perfected the system in Wario Land, where I can't even remember there being any slowdowns at all, and that's pretty insane. And Mario Land 2, you would have these slowdowns at certain points. I remember if you jumped and you could do this like spinning attack. If there were a few enemies on screen, you would have that slowdown as well. Same with you know, firing the projectiles, but it only occurred like in certain places. But Wario Land, that is, and I actually have the source code in assembly to Wario Land. That is insanity. You know, I have that now. What I could do is kind of learn from that, but it will require me probably a few years to get the hang of it. Like people, when you read like documentation, people say like assembly is easy, and maybe in a certain way it is. If you look at, there aren't too many commands available. Yeah, that's what I mean, indeed. It's simple because there are a few commands that you can use, but the hardest part is... Oh, okay, cool, awesome. The hardest part is, in assembly, is to make optimal use of, you know, the hardware. And that makes it probably more difficult than other programming languages. Because you have to do everything manually. I'm gonna take a very small break, gonna get myself something to drink, and I'll be back in a few minutes. let's do a little bit of level design. You know, once I once I'm through like the optimization process, I think it's gonna be more interesting to stream, because then I can actually focus on the levels themselves. You know, which I think is more interesting to do live than this, because this is like a real struggle. Okay, so show you real quick what I did last time. This is one of the streams before the last one, but we actually worked on this area, and I think technically I'm gonna try and do a little different. Let's make these lights attenuated. I mean, not attenuated, just light. It's a lot heavier, but I think the engine will kinda, let's see how, I think it will display a little better. Or not, maybe. Oh, there's definitely a difference. I think this is, yeah, kinda, the attenuated lights are of course more subtle. But I think it's kind of looks a little better. What we can do here is change that texture as well. And well, we can actually, the tea is too hot. Let's use a Doom 3 light here. Maybe something like standard white. Could this one work? Yeah, I kind of like these colors. They're almost the same. Might have a good candidate here. And let's give it a color, ceiling glow white. Yeah. That's actually all we need to do. think instead of these computers, could have something else here. Let's see what Doom 3 has an offer. Maybe. Let's see. Is there room for? I think you can actually use a light here. It's still too hot. Oh, we got a green one actually. Large light. Can we work with this? It has to be a little more clean. Not too clean, I think something like this. But in comparison, these lights look kind of dirty. So I'm not really sure. Not really sure how this will fit in, but let's, oh. It already matches. Kind of like this is, I think this is a little bit weird, like the cutoff there. Might be a little harsh. I don't know. What I could probably do is create like a new light, make something by myself. I think that works really well here, and we can use this one. Really like this texture. So many implementations. You can press it in or out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna go with just this because I feel only so much you can do. Hold on. I got an idea. Can we actually... Well, I think the easiest way you can just fit this in. Two. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Pretty lights. I think actually we don't need an inset. Just that would be enough, I think. No? We could go crazy. Probably shouldn't. But if you want to do this. Gonna put these slopes, reset them. Might be too much, maybe, no? Man. What you can do is instead of using the whole texture, well, I think that actually works well enough. It's not worth the trouble. There we go. Let's give this brightness, like an extra brightness. There we go. Okay. Okay, they all have 64. These are already have the correct one. You don't see it in editor. However, you do see it on screen. Okay. I think that will do for this area. Consider this one finished. So let's have a closer look at the, oh yeah, this is actually something I was still working on. Although there's actually not too much that needs to change here. Might be overkill. can we do a little bit of set dressing here? Hold on. So that's 32. So let's actually put that one in there as well. So we can use this one. Eight and 16. Okay, let's do it like that. It's easier. Okay. Okay. This one right there. And that one right there. Okay. Let's see if we can find something along these lines. Might be a little too rusty. Let's see if we can find something here. In the Doom 3 texture pack. Kinda finding that smooth transition between Doom 2 and Doom 3. It's actually not correct, because I ended with a Quake 2 texture. So we have to find a in-between texture for Doom 3 and Quake 2 actually. So a little bit of white brownish. cement? Nah. Should we introduce cement here? You know, it kinda call me crazy, but I think the blend from white to brownish is actually not that bad. Now what if I... What if I do something crazy like this? And just make my own transition. Probably could use 16 here. Run. And actually, let's do it again. Like that. So kind of mimicking that cement texture. Let's see if it works. Okay. Maybe not cement, but there are actually no. Not entirely convinced. No. I'm gonna do to help me out here is actually change this one up. 16. Oh. And do that again. There we go. So we can actually remove this and this one. And then we have a nice 32 going in here. There we go. And we can actually perhaps like that. Okay. Just put him in the middle. Now let's see if there's like an interesting texture here. I'm gonna do some magic here. Thanks to the power, this was never possible in the original editor, and I think I forgot something crucial here. Okay. The okay. you know, that's how easy it actually is. If you were like to use the old editors, you would have to do all of this by hand. There we go. I'm not really sure what to do with this. Like, I feel it could be a different texture. I just haven't figured out which one exactly. Maybe cement. Maybe that was actually the good choice. Let's move it -1. Would that be fitting? You know, I know exactly what this is missing. Some lighting, proper lighting. The thing is, which type of lights would I give this? Maybe orange? I think if you this actually does look best. Floor, ceiling. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna split these, and then we can actually create this better looking effect. There we go. Okay. And I think we can actually place these elsewhere. Maybe here. We'll see. Of course, to go as well. Now, let's first see how it looks, because I think the attenuated lights like this one would probably look a lot better when it comes to like purely because of the bright maps. Let's see if we can actually we get an issue here, and that is basically like that. Okay. No, that's weird. Okay, let's see. Should I reverse it somehow? That would seem kind of weird to me. Does it like, hold on. I see, I think I see what's going on. If I line it properly with this. Now it should work. There we go. That is aligned. Okay, so we can actually basically, like, just by splitting these sectors in two or more, multiple pieces, we can create one large light, and you will see the difference. I'll show you in a minute. Let's actually, hold on, let me check. 9. Now you will see let me show you the difference. Six, 9. Now it doesn't look like much in the editor, but if you jump into the game, you can clearly see like these bright maps. It appears a lot brighter. I think this light kind of, I like the shade it creates here and the way it kind of blends in with the orange light. It's actually quite nice. V112, not overdo it. Yeah, that's good. This one is a little easier because it's not angled. Let's have a look. I think you might not want to lose too much of that white. Or we can try with a different color. Use white. Now, what do you know? We do have options here. Would this be cool? Or would it be too much? Kinda like the now I wonder is what color is this? Something like that. I think I found a color, like a type that I kind of comes close to it. Yeah, blue might be too much. I think I'll just go with the white. I'm still thinking whether or not that's actually a good idea. Maybe I kind of like it better the way it was. Maybe I should kind of play around with the other parts here. I think maybe what the hell was that? Would that be too much? No, I think that actually looks nice. Maybe we can tone this down and like instead of these large ones, short techno floor lamp. That's weird. I saw like what is this? Is that a thing? Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, this is actually not too bad. Like the green should probably be the focus, and I think those are attenuated lights as well. Ah, what do we have here? This is probably some decoration. That was replaced or renamed. And I think I just replace these with lights. The attenuated are very good for subtle lighting, but this is better. Like, I want this door to draw attention. I think it does a way better job like this. It's kind of like the framing bit, a little bit. I do like it with these lights, so I'm gonna keep those. Yeah. Okay. Wow, my jumping is terrible. Okay. I think this area is Doom 3E enough. Granted, this one could use a little bit of work, but I'm thinking maybe I wanted to play her too. This would actually be a good secret. The only thing I don't know is where to put it. Maybe just one of these doors here. And then connect to this part. And we have a nice extra secret. Eight, okay. This is a weird choice I made here for length. Let's see. How can we make this clean, like spread repositioning? Oh. Retrying. Oh. So there's basically no real workaround? Yeah, the upgraded frame, but if I did use like a wait command in between, so to make sure that it doesn't run like 60 times a second. Well, if you put like, if you do like a move command, it first moves to that position. So I don't think it get updated. Like it runs the commands like in sequence, unless you use a VM unlock command, like in the GBVM. Then it kind of breaks that. You know, it doesn't wait. But normally, if it moves to a certain position, then I don't think it's gonna be like repeating. It just waits until, you know, the object is at the position, because it is one script and it checks that entire script. You know, if it was a short script without any waits, it would constantly check. But because this script runs in a sequence, really? Is that not how it works? Oh. I see. Yeah. I understand. Okay. So that's how it works. But I don't think there's a way around it, is there? Because you split the updates. Hold on, let me check that real quick. So let's see for this one, actor 2. Actor move to So how would I do that with the existing commands? Should I do like... Towards position. Wait, you mean... Move relative. I see. I see. That was actually... Could that actually solve the issue? Like, did you try it? Yeah, true. But if it increases performance, that might be... It might be worth it. Pizza's here. Oh, nice. Are you having pizza for breakfast? Because that is a win move. Pizza is one meal. Okay. Well, enjoy your meal. No, and you don't get hungry afterward because maybe it's a large, super large pizza, maybe. Yeah, I think I see your point here. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Okay, then, you know, I understand. So if I would use like move relative, it just moves from the current position. Towards the direction. Ah, I see. Not a point. So basically it doesn't check if I use move relative. It just continues to go and kind of forgets. It doesn't have to run a check each frame or something. Okay, let's see. It also doesn't loop. Where are my... wait, move relative, of course. By 4 tiles. Hey Joseph, what is up, buddy? When I build my first map, Oh, well, the problem is... that I usually tend to... Like, my map grows too big. When I always... Like, I have the idea of starting, like, making small maps. But then it just grows and grows, and before I know it, the map is actually large. And, you know, I try to constrain myself, but, you know, it doesn't always work. Like my... like, I have to go back to that. Like, I like these maps that are compact. So I'm gonna try that for episode 3. Actor. Let's see if I... So if I wait for half a second... I have to move relative. So -4. So if I do this, would this be like, would it be better? Because this would loop, because it's on update. However, let's see what it does. Yeah. Well, technically, it works. But it's still slow. Episode 2 map 1, is that huge? You mean from my project, or you mean like in from like episode 2 of my project, or you mean episode 2 of the Ultimate Doom? Oh, is episode 2 map 1, is that so huge? Thought it was pretty small as well. I mean, like if I compare the two, E1 M1 and E2 M1, there's not a huge difference in size. But it kind of makes sense because, you know, it's like... no, no, episode 2 map 1 is not, that's episode 2 map 2 containment area. That is that's pretty big. E2M1 is Demus anomaly, I think. But let's jump in. Let's see. Let's see. Can we actually... wait, I have to not use the editor. Games... Cheesy Doom... The Ultimate Doom, let's jump in. Okay, let's have a look. So knee deep in the dead. Okay. This is indeed, well, it is compact because it's the very first map. Alright. Let's use the Shores of Hell. See, it's not, like, in comparison, it's not huge. I mean, it's kind of similar, maybe just a little bit bigger. Now, containment area. That is indeed big. But that's episode 2, map 2. Like you can see here. That's a lot bigger. But episode 2 map 1 and episode 1 map 1 are kind of similar. Let's see, let's actually... So, what if I... Is there a difference between using a loop on init? Let's actually... Is there a difference between using a loop and an on update? Would it be better if I do like an on init and I have a loop? Loop for, loop while. Local 0 is... Maybe I can do it like that. Yeah, when I'm going to work on episode 3, I kind of want to go back to the scale of episode 1. Just more tight, controlled maps. Episode 2 was kind of like an experiment to expand and have like these multiple, like more like an open world type, but not as open world. But I kind of want to expand it 2 more, and I think it kind of lost a little bit of that action that I was going for. So for episode 3, I'm definitely going to keep the scale of the maps smaller, more action-packed, with more loops, like, revisiting areas, stuff like that. So that's definitely going to be, like, I'm going to dial it back, the scale of the maps. Yeah, me too. What if I do this while local is non-zero? That's actually a lot better move relative. So let's say I use this loop, and a loop doesn't check. A loop doesn't check every so many frames, I think. It just, if the script is completed, then it gets back. I think. No? Maybe that's actually a better approach. And this script actually stops automatically when, like, local 0 is that monster's health. So while it isn't 0, it runs this in a loop. And if it's 0, the monster dies, then it stops that script. Maybe. Let's check it out. So it doesn't have an on update. Let's see if it works. Son of a bitch. Where's my monster? Shouldn't this work? Why isn't this the monster is moving though. Does that make a difference? No. Let's disable that. Where is my monster, for fuck's sake? What is going on here? It's weird, isn't it? Okay, let's save. Maybe I should reopen it. That is weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe the offset is wrong or something. I don't know. I mean, the monster is there because I get killed. See, like, how come the sprite isn't showing? Okay, let's enable this. Do they need to have an on update? What if I delete everything? Because now it says something, but what if there's nothing? No event. Maybe that is what's wrong here. Yeah, that is what's wrong. Okay. Now enable this. Okay. That is the correct command, isn't it? Oh yeah, my camera, that's true. There we go. So if local 0, while it is not 0, it moves. Ah. Oh. Oh. Did I make a mistake here? Now it's in green. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Up. That's weird, man. Just a different flavor. Oh. But isn't like if you use a loop, it just runs like this entire script and then it returns automatically instead of checking all this. It's not really like an unupdated, or is there no difference at all? There's something wrong here. Nothing happens. Three, 1, 2. Local 0 is 2. Okay. Relative +5 is going to be hanging on that instruction. I see. But then it shouldn't have like that many cycles, right? So it doesn't update every like 60 times a second to check where the position is. No, there's something wrong with the loop. I think. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, the loop is stuck. Kind of weird. So how would I is there a way to Is there? It's even possible to optimize it. If it loops, then you have to act, remove, cancel. Oh man. Wait 6 frames, move relative, check if a destination. Yeah. Does it work in tiles? Well, it's probably... Hold on, let me see actually. Actor move cancel. Some things you can actually do. Yeah, it's not. Oh wait, pixels. You can actually move in pixels. Oh well. So, is this like? Will this mean that? Does this make a difference? Besides, you can be more precise, I can imagine. Oh yeah. Speedless. You can actually set the speed here, but I have no idea. You can't set the speed for a character. Let me actually disable this chat window so you can see. You can set the speed here. But how many frames? Okay. Whew. It's very high. Okay. I see, I understand. And then you would have to repeat it. Until destination is reached. Understand. So I kind of have to put in wait periods to make it seem like it moves slower, right? Because it moves at an incredible high speed. And then I do that move, and then I wait, and then do that move again. But I wonder how will like affect the fluid of movement, how fluid it will be, because it will be like shocking like this. I wonder. Now, how many frames? How many frames is a movement speed? Let's try. Let's see if AI knows the answer. Makes my work a little easier. Ah, I see. Okay. Speed 1 equals 1 pixel per frame. We're still searching. Okay, so this is what it comes out. Oh God, man. Is it some, could it be somewhere explained in the documents? Because I think this is kind of like important to know. One tile is 8 pixels, okay. Okay, this is what I got. I'm sorry for the text. That's what came out. I'm not really sure if that it makes sense. Speed 1, okay. Pixel per frame. So suppose I make this 1 and this also 1. They move very fast, but could that be like just trying some stuff out? See if it like. Still. It's gonna be slightly. Wait, let's see. Seconds, frames. Wait, 5.3. No, it doesn't. 5. That we can do. So what you're basically saying is we need to do some calculations. But you know, the thing is, hold on, let me actually show you something. Where is it? Man. Let's try this. Like this one doesn't move. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, like it didn't introduce the proper player mechanics, but man, hold on. Copy event. Okay. See, like here, of course, it appears to be when I turn to there is some lag here, and if you look at the unupdate script for this, like there's no move function here, so but I think if he fires a projectile, then it has to check collision, and that is pretty, you know, it's pretty taxing on a CPU. So that is an issue here I probably can't fix. So yeah, no idea. But you know, I'll check it out next time. Five moving slugs destroyed frame. Yeah, absolutely. I only can do like one, max 2 monsters. like movement in the game is really indeed killing the frame rate. Moving monsters, which you kind of have to do it. They can be all static. Yeah, not really sure how to fix that. Yeah. Like I feel you can notice it like an increased drop. If I fire, like if I shoot while jumping, while in the air. That's definitely like... It causes a major slowdown. Not necessarily like you know, if I just shoot while the monsters, like, well, both of these are active, there's not a huge amount of drop. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let's see. On updates. There we go. Let's place myself right here. See, it kind of is quite alright. Here it is not alright. And here it's better. But it's the movement. Indeed, I think this proves your point. Yeah, when he stops, you can clearly see that the frame rate increases. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's the movement. No, everything contributes a little. True. Yeah, there's going to be a problem. Like, I wonder, like, how... Then using assembly directly must have been like huge. Like a huge difference, because like Wario Land, they have multiple enemies moving on screen. And you know, you could fly, you could do all sorts of stuff yourself. While there, like, I haven't noticed any drop in frame rate. And here I have like two moving objects. Written C. Well, actually, I use GB Studio, but there is a Game Boy development kit which allows you to write in C, like the entire game. Maybe we should partner up. Just rewrite the entire game. Nah, I don't think so, no. You do the programming, I'll do the pixel art and stuff. In C, it's probably... But it's still not the same as assembly. There is still... I think it might be an improvement over this, but there's still like when it comes to optimization, there's still a step in between. Like assembly is it's the best way, of course, to optimize. Man, that would be insane. Yeah. True. Oh, so you think like they should have done this differently. I see. Okay, I understand. So if there was like a workaround for that, then it would mean a significant improvement. Skip frames, remove it, yeah. Well, we could try that. I mean, you can do it manually. But you know what I noticed, and I'm not really sure if that has anything to do with that, but if you look at, like, let me show you real quick. Now, hold on just a second. Just a second.
Since I was a little kid, I always loved the idea of an anti-hero.
Okay.
Basically, anyone
So
a villain that was never really a good guy, but kind of gets. This game is fantastic, and so the whole point of this game is that you're treasure hunting. You're not.
I mean, look how fluid it goes. You have all these coins and stuff, and but one thing I noticed, and maybe it has to do with. Well, probably has to do with multiple monsters. I'm not really sure if he is actually... if he disabled the... No, here you can see it. The monsters are flickering. See, like there's... They kind of disappear very shortly. And I wonder... normally, I understand that like there is a 10 sprite limit. So you can... If you use like 10 8x8 sprites... That's the maximum amount the Game Boy can handle in a row, like on an X-axis. So they kind of did a Nintendo trick for some games where they kind of flickered it in and out. It has to do with like prioritization. But here there's a lot of stuff going on, right? You got these coins moving. There are a lot of moving factors here, and still it runs super smooth. You got the timer, which also has to do like, check every second. Like this is an entire HUD, but I'm not really sure if they only were able to like isolate this part, because I have to do like a full HUD update Otherwise, things will kind of like things go wrong. But I use it like a visual HUD. This is more like uses variables for the the counters. That's something I don't do because I kind of wanted to have like a visual representation. Of course, it reads variables, but it doesn't display them. It translates them to text basically. And like this is a game that really runs super smooth, but I wonder like the flickering, could it also be where they kind of see that there you can see it clearly, while there is no increase like or decrease to limits. Like on the x-axis there's no problem, so it doesn't have to be like the monsters don't have to flicker because they're all rendered in full. But I wonder, is the flickering, does it have to do with where they kind of because I usually notice it when there's more than one monster. No, it's not a bug, it's intentional. They actually do it in a lot of games, and the reason is it's like an old Nintendo trick to display more sprites on screen than is allowed. They kind of switch them on and off real quick, so it happens super fast. So you see with the fire as well, it gets cut off, but that's because you have Wario, and he is, I think, uses a couple of blocks, like 3 blocks of 8 pixels, and then you got the fire, so you kind of overextending there, and you have more than 10, and that's why they kind of switch in and out. No, true, and that's why I wonder, is there some other, maybe some, is there something else why they would do that? And when I was thinking, if there are multiple monsters on screen, you get a slowdown. Like, same for me. If I have one moving object, the game runs fine. If there are more, then I have problems. And I wonder, like, because they have both movement scripts, but could it be that they switch them off, like, and that's why the monsters disappear. They turn off the monster and the script for movement, and then they introduce it again and continue the movement from their relative position. Could that be something? No idea, actually. Because here you don't see it. See, there are multiple monsters here. When you get like you had 4 monsters plus Wario who were all moving. Plus you have this, it also has to animate. It's insane. Like, how did they manage to optimize this so much? And it still runs so smooth. You get all these sprites on screen. Like the coins, okay, they don't move, but they must have really used some black magic. See, like the same thing with the fire here. But that I can understand. That's a nice trick. But usually you can see this effect if the monsters are like usually more than one. Insanity. Like, you know, when I jumped in this whole game development, I thought, well, yeah, that's for the Game Boy. It's easy. It's not too complex. But, you know, I do have, like, the source code for Wario Land. But there's a lot of stuff going on here at the same time. And you don't experience any noticeable slowdowns. It's amazing. Can we reproduce something like that? Let me actually try. Deactivate actor. Deactivate self. Pixels. Use one. Like, this is crazy stuff. Normally it should flicker like crazy. Let's just try it out. It's an on update. Okay, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think I did a... hold on. I should have done this. Enable event. Wait, copy event. Deactivate. Like that, maybe. Could that be? That's some... No. Maybe like that. It kind of like depends on where you place it, I guess. It starts good. Let's see if I do it like that. Wait. Yeah, I see. So the unupdate script stops. Wait a minute. Stop. Like I'm going. Yeah, probably not. That doesn't do anything, I guess. Start, stop. Doesn't make a difference. Yeah, what I think. Oh God. Oh, my knowledge is not good enough to actually to figure this stuff out. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I'll try to think of it myself. You know, what would be a good solution? What I can do is like feed assembly directly, like the source code, feed it into AI, and maybe have it find like explain it maybe like how certain mechanics work based on the code. Maybe. Oh, we'll see. I'll definitely get back to this, but you know, for the moment, my head is full with I have. Hold on, just a second. There is a. I'm gonna find it. I think it's actually improved. I'll send it to you in Discord, Festus. Because it's super interesting. There's the link. And I think it actually improved. Like there are some comments I've seen. Like I've went through a couple of files, and there is some comments in there where he improved certain mechanics. and it kind of explains like what is not so great and how it is improved. So that's super interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a look. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the help. It's been super helpful. To at least, give me some insights in how these mechanics all work. And, we'll try to figure out something. If it's possible, I would love to improve it. So I can, have some more stuff going on screen. But if there's not, like, I try to kind of maybe limit the monsters on screen at the same time. But maybe I'll invest more in like certain traps or certain hazards where the things are not moving, and like platforming and some stuff like to add more challenge than just monsters, where I can could just ease down on the monsters, on the monster placement, instead of having all this stuff going on screen at the same time. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great Sunday evening, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.